afternoon, everybody. I think Jeannie did a spectacular job of starting things off. She gave you the goal. She gave you the passion of what it means to respond to your inner self, to be a leader, to take charge. I'm going to get a little bit more nuts and bolts today and talk about how exactly do you do that. And so my presentation, it's entitled, "Whose Problem Is It?" And I think that's really at the heart of becoming a leader. You might say, well, all right, that's a great goal that Jeannie set out before us, but the world we live in is not such a simple place that we, oops, we're not getting what I want. Okay, so anyway, we're surrounded by global problems, poverty, war, obesity, global warming. How do we as individuals make a dent in things like that? So my premise is that while not only that people don't necessarily have the tools to do that, we're not taught that we can accept being a leader. You see things like this. You aren't expected to understand this. That the media holds out this, or we're bombarded every day with the notion that there's major problems out there. They trot out experts to tell us why such and such should be done or shouldn't be done. Typically there's two of them, one on each side of the argument, and yet they expect us to take control. So my argument is that that has kind of put a paralysis before us in terms of taking responsibility. And so what's the reaction when we're faced with overwhelming problems and being told that we have a lack of capability to solve them? So I think the reaction is, it's not my problem. It's somebody else's problem. It's their problem to solve. It's not something that we can take responsibility for. I think that's the wrong reaction. That is not being a leader. That is being told what to do by somebody else. And let's take it to the next level. I mean, that may be fine that you can't raise your hand and say that I can solve obesity in America or global warming. But let's think about what happens when it comes to our community. What does it mean when we don't step forward to take responsibility in our community, to say it's somebody else's problem? I think this picture is a great example. I don't know if you can see it there at the bottom of the screen. Think about this. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? And what does that say about the community where that happened? It says, it reflects badly on everybody in that community. It reflects, it hurts everyone in the community. It diminishes the community in other people's eyes, in our own eyes. It smells really bad. And what really, the point is that it's not someone else's problem. These are our problems. They're our community. And I think that's the first recognition that we have to have as individuals in becoming leaders, is just to say it's our problem, it's not somebody else's problem. So what does it mean to say that? Well, first of all, it means that you have the opportunity to do something about it. You have the opportunity to raise your hand and say, I'll take care of that. Why don't we do more of that? Why don't people raise their hand and say, I'll do that? There's this tendency to believe, I think, in all of us, that we're incapable of doing that. We don't have the necessary expertise. We don't have the time. We don't have the money. No one will follow us. They'll follow, name your favorite movie star that you look up to. But I think there's a real empowerment in saying, we will accept the problem. The next thing that happens is that when you raise your hand, you are surprised by the number of people that come to you to be part of this solution. I think people are looking for a way to channel their energy. We all have desires. We all have priorities. We all have pet projects, hobbies, interests, and we just need a mechanism to focus and channel those. Becoming a leader lets you do that. The next thing that it lets you do, the most powerful thing in my view, is that it lets you actually do something. That you're not asking permission, you're not looking for regulatory authority, you're just saying, I can solve this problem, or we can solve this problem, because I becomes we very quickly as you accumulate followers. The other thing I will say is at the local level, these problems aren't as hard as they are on the national level. That things that seem difficult to solve at the national level, global warming, childhood obesity, traffic congestion, what does that mean in Napa Valley? Let's see if we can build a vine trail from the Vallejo Ferry to Calistoga. That's not going to solve the problem of childhood obesity everywhere in America, but if every community raised their hand and did a project like the Vine Trail, we would have an impact. And I think setting an example at the local level for other people to copy, and looking at it as I just have to do my piece, and if everybody else follows along with their pieces in similar communities, that these problems can be solved, and they can be solved far more effectively than if we try to shoot it all upstairs to as high a level of national government as we can and expect the right answer to come back down to our communities. It's also true in education. Achievement gap, dropout rate, unemployment. Napa Learns has a very simple premise. Let's give the tools of the 21st century to the kids in our community today. Let's prepare them for the jobs that are out there. That's not rocket scientist. These goals are not trivial goals. They're not easy to solve, but they are manageable at the local level with local resources. So how do you make this happen? I say the first thing to do is just start the ball rolling. Just pose a question that leads or pose the problem that needs to be corrected. In the case of the Vine Trail, it was I went around for probably 6 months asking, why don't we have a hiking and biking trail in Napa Valley? No one could tell me why not. They all said it was a good idea. That to me told me that there was an opportunity to do something here. And if we just came together, we could figure out a way to solve that problem. With Napa Learns, actually in 1997, way before Napa Learns, it was the Rotary coming to the school district, the community coming to the school district and saying, you're not training the kids in our community for the jobs that we have. You may be training them from something else, but they're not employable in the jobs that we have. That kind of crystallizes the need for action. The next thing that I would say is critically important at the community level is to get everyone around the table. For a couple reasons. First, you get a wealth of different viewpoints. Secondly, you get a wealth of great brain power. I am always amazed when I go into a Vine Trail meeting or a Napa Learns meeting at the quality and the level of discussion of the expertise that's around the table. We have 27 different organizations on the Vine Trail board. We have 31 different individuals on the Napa Learns board representing every school district in Napa Valley. And there is synergy in bringing together expertise from across the spectrum. The trap you can't fall in, I think, are two. One is you can't think that you're the smartest person in the room, that you really have to use these people for the expertise that they have, give them the responsibility, give them the authority to make decisions. And the second is you do have to listen to everybody. And you do have to try to mold that expertise and to drive it in a single direction. So the beginning is what? The beginning is you don't know it all. You'll learn a lot just by doing something, and you'll have something to show for it. Fire, aim, refire method of management. That you can analyze a problem to the nth degree, and you will find out less about the real world nature of the problem than doing an experiment and seeing the results. And think about learning by doing. this is the way we all learned before we got to a school who said that that wasn't the right way to do it. And in particular, that school has only, in that form, the institutional school form has only existed for 100 years. Before that, learning was about doing. It was about apprenticeship. It was about experimentation. So the doing of it generates a lot more quality, a lot more feedback, a lot better answers about what it is what it is the problem really is at hand. In the Vine Trail, we accomplish our doing through four different committees with over 50 different people. In Napa Learns, we accomplish it in 5 different committees with over 30 different volunteers. And we divide it up and we let people go do things. I tell all the board members, you're not here to pass judgment on those who are doing the work. If you want to do the work, go do it. But don't sit here and tell people that what they're doing is not the right thing to do. And to me, expertise is turned into results. Individuals who know the best get to actually do something about the problem. The next thing I think is critically important in the doing is to focus on some quick wins. Focus on things that can be done quickly. They may not be the ultimate goal. They only may be a piece of the goal, but they can be done and generate both knowledge and enthusiasm for what's being done. In the Vine Trail, it was the Yountville Mile. 1 mile of a 44-mile trail that connects from nowhere to nowhere. But it served as an example. It served as an example for the community of what we could do. It served as a great example for us to figure out what it is we exactly wanted to do. What do the signs look like? What do the maps look like? Where are their benches? What do they look like? All of this stuff can't be really put down on a piece of paper ahead of time. Sure, we had design teams that worked on all kind of stuff. You know, in the Vine Trail, we put signs. We said we're going to put signs on the trail. We come up with a great design for a sign. Very sleek, elegant, almost disappeared when you looked at from the side. Turns out that's a bad thing. Bicyclists can't see the sign as they're coming up on it. If you go to Yountville right now, that sign's not there. That sign is back being retrofit so that it has a more visible edge to it. It's back, excuse me, 3 days ago. So think about it. If we had waited until we were making 1,000 or 100 signs for entire 44 miles and we put them all up and they were all bad, doesn't that cause a lot more effort and work and rework than what we did? A quick experiment, a quick win. With Napa Learns, we did inherit the SC21 program, the great program of the new technology high school curriculum. But one of our first quick wins was, let's see what we can do at the other end of the spectrum. Let's see what we can do with preschool kids, in particular with non-English speaking preschool kids who didn't have any preschool experience. And let's see if we gave them iPads, if that would improve their performance. We had no idea whether it would work or wouldn't work. In fact, many of those within the district thought they wouldn't work, including the teachers that were going to teach the course. In the space of 4 weeks, not only did we prove to ourselves that it worked, but all those teachers thought it worked so well that we now have 80 iPads for every kindergartner in Calistoga. Just think about the alternative. Think about what would have happened if we set out to give every student in Calistoga or in Napa Valley an iPad a priori with no experience. We would still be debating whether or not iPads were appropriate for that age level. I think it's much better to do the experiment than to try to, up front, anticipate every possible outcome. Just a couple more thoughts. Don't be afraid to think big. Just because a goal is large does not mean that you fail or succeed only if you get to the ultimate goal. If you set a large goal, there are many steps along the way, many quick wins that get you closer and closer, that builds the momentum, that actually makes the probability that you'll get to the big goal greater than if you just take a little goal that doesn't capture people's imagination. With the Vine Trail, it's a $50 million project. We've already gotten a $2.5 million grant from the federal government. We've raised $1.5 million philanthropically. We are very close to announcing another major philanthropic donation that is larger than everything that we've raised so far. We've got 1 mile of the Yountville Mile done. We've got 10 miles in engineering or development, so we're making progress against the large goal. Will we be there in the next few years? No. This is a project that will probably take 10 years. With Napa Learns and its predecessor in SC21, look at where we've come from since 1997 and the local Rotaries saying that our kids aren't prepared. We've raised in excess of $15 million for this community, for our schools, in support of 21st century learning. The technology and the IP of what was done here in Napa has been rolled out to 60 other schools, going to 80 other schools, going to 100 schools this fall. And we've had over 3,000 visitors from all over the educational spectrum, all over the world, coming to Napa Valley to look at what we're doing. That's the power of setting a large goal, is it attracts the attention and the enthusiasm of other people. Finally, don't be afraid, my final slide, don't be, second to final slide, don't be afraid to think out of the box. And I'm here today to announce a new endeavor that we've set out on. And this came about regarding this question. What would happen if we added a light rail service to the wine train route? Well, I'm pleased to say that there is a group called Napa Transit Investors that announced on Friday that we are indeed out to figure out a way to do that, to give everyone in the Napa Valley the ability to hop on and hop off a light rail system that runs from the Napa Valley Community College to St. Helena. So do I know where this is going to end? No. Do I know how we're going to get there? Not completely. Am I looking for people that would like to raise their hand and say that they want to be part of the journey? Absolutely. And I am confident that with the enthusiasm and the support of a great set of people that I know are out there that believe in this goal, that we can pull this off. So I guess it comes down to me, to the idea that you have to believe that you can make a difference, and you have to raise your hand and say you'll do it. I like Henry Ford's quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Right? So have the courage to believe that you can make a difference, and you will. And maybe even better than that is Yogi Berra's adage, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Thank you very much. Yeah.